Hello, I'm Leah London reporting for Manning Live here at the CCNN studios in Manning, South Carolina. Today is April 12th, 2019, and here's a look at what's making news and headlines for this week. The Mooing Elephant has moved to their new location at 206 South Mill Street recently. The first location of the Mooing Elephant was in the home of one of the co-owners, Melissa Mahoney. Their last location was on Rigby Street and was there for almost 2 years prior to deciding to invest in a brick-and-mortar retail store. Co-owners Melissa Mahoney and Julie Lee are very excited about the new layout of this boutique. It has more of an open floor design and is very modern. The Mooing Elephant also specializes in embroidery and monogramming for any of their customers. Also sold are specialty gift items, book bags, and baby items. Gift cards are also available for purchase. In other news, a black Charger led police on a high-speed chase that started on I-95 near Somerton and ended in a major crash in the city limits of Manning. The Charger struck a car and a truck at the traffic light on West Boyce Street, causing major damage to the vehicles. Both the driver and the passenger of the Charger fled on foot, but were captured by officers a short time later. Drugs and money were found in the car. It was later discovered that the driver was driving under suspension. Both were arrested and taken to Clarendon Jail. The persons involved in the other vehicles were taken to McLeod Clarendon Hospital and treated for minor injuries. In a local public service announcement, the Levi Pearson Scholarship Fund VITA program and the IRS are currently providing free tax return preparations for people who need free tax help. Volunteers will be available April 15th at 12 noon until 5 p.m. at the Harvan Clarendon County Library. Walk-ins will be accepted, and for more information, contact Harvan Clarendon County Library at 803-435-8633. The Manning Police Department recently appointed Keith Grice as the new police chief for Manning. For our feature story, I was able to sit down and talk with Chief Grice about some of his plans for the city in the near future. Let's have a listen to that in-studio interview. Hello, Chief Grice. It's very nice to speak with you today. So my first question for you is, as police chief, could you tell me what kind of steps you are taking to keep our roadways safe?
First of all, good morning. We want to be, as far as the Manning Police Department is concerned, we want high visibility. We want to be seen as often as possible within the city limits of Manning. You'll start seeing officers patrolling school zones in the AM and the PM. Before school and after school. We want to see our officers out in the neighborhood communities. Not necessarily in the patrol vehicles, but we want to see our officers on foot, walking in, actually touching base with the community.
Okay. So recently I've heard that you've purchased some radar signs to kind of help motorists. Could you explain that a little bit more?
That's correct. You'll start seeing several radar signs around the city. We're moving from area to area. If there's anybody in the citizens of Manning who actually need these radar signs in their neighborhood, these radar signs will actually tell you how fast you're going. It is a tool not only to write, it's not a tool to write your ticket for, it's a tool to help you see how fast you're going prior to meeting a patrol officer. If you need these radar signs in your neighborhood, we'll be more than delighted to bring those signs to your neighborhood. These signs come with software, so the software will tell us the number of traffic, the speed that's coming through your neighborhood, the average speed that's coming through your neighborhood, and the amount of cars that pass through your neighborhood within a 24-hour period.
So do you currently have any signs in Manning, or how many are you planning to install?
I'm not sure how many we're planning to install. We currently do have one that's in use right now. You should see it somewhere around Boyce Street for the next week. So I'm not sure at this point in time how many we'll actually purchase for the city.
Okay. So do you know if you're planning to purchase any in the future, and if so, how many?
Most definitely, we are planning to purchase more in the future. How many, I really don't know this time. We do get a lot of complaints from different neighborhoods around the city of high rate of speed, especially on Boyce Street. We work with the South Carolina Department of Public Safety and the transport units in doing truck enforcement coming through downtown Manning. And I think these speed radar signs are going to assist us in controlling the speed also.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to add about the traffic signs?
Not necessarily the traffic signs. We want to talk about traffic lights at an intersection. I noticed the last holiday season we had, when we had the hurricane coming through, and most recently there's been some power outage in the Walmart area. I just want people to realize or remember when the traffic lights are not working. For example, if there's no power at that intersection, the traffic lights will not work because DOT does not have any generators on the traffic lights themselves. I just want to remind individuals that if you approach a traffic light and it is not working, there's no power whatsoever, we have to treat that intersection as a four-way stop. I've noticed there are cars that are going through the intersection at 35 miles per hour. If you've got a car going straight ahead at 35, one coming from the side at 35, and they collide, that's a recipe for disaster. If you approach a traffic light and it's not working, treat it as a four-way stop. If you approach a traffic light and it's on flash, which means it just is constantly flashing, yellow has the right-of-way. Whichever side is flashing yellow has the right-of-way. Whichever side is flashing red, quite naturally, has to stop. So we want to monitor those within the city itself, and we ask people to be mindful of traffic lights that are not working. One more thing I want to point out about highway safety, moped operators. I noticed a lot of moped operators that ride within the city. Most of them are riding legally, but what I would like to see, and I would like to push this with the Manning Police Department, is that every person that rides a moped has a reflectorized vest on. Because when they leave the city, they're going out into the county. And when they leave the county, these mopeds run about 35 miles per hour. And a 35 mile per hour moped against a 55 mile per hour car is another recipe for disaster.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for having the time to talk to me. And congratulations on your appointment as police chief. And I hope that you have a good rest of the day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, that's our live news highlight for this week. So until next time, this is Leah London reporting for Manning Live from CCNN Studios.